Namaskar. Today is a very happy subject. So, what is the subject? Yogasanas. Now, you know, these yogasanas, you can see them anywhere in the world now. Hollywood is full of yogis, ladies trying to have an hourglass figure and so on. So, it's everywhere. And I think it is India's greatest gift to the world, the yogas. One of the greatest, I can't say greatest gift to the world. Sanskrit is there are several other things. But certainly one of the greatest gifts in the world. And I'm really very happy that we started the International Yoga Day. I know there are lots of people who say, oh, it's a political, it is not a political move. The Prime Minister wanted to show that India is the source of yogasanas. Otherwise, there are even people who think that yoga has come from the US. I must tell you this joke. One day I went to, I think Wisconsin, and there was a young group of girls and few boys doing their yoga. Yoga studio. They were doing well. So I asked them, what yoga are you doing? They said, Ashtanga yoga. Oh. I said, so who is the founder of Ashtanga yoga? They said, B.K.S. Iyengar. I said, look, 1000 years ago, Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras. And that describes Ashtanga yoga as the yoga of 8 limbs. So it's okay, you must have learned from B.K.S. Iyengar. He was a great yoga practitioner and so on. Please understand this, that's very ancient. So I'm really happy and thankful to the Prime Minister that the International Yoga Day was created. All over the world, everybody is doing yoga at that time. Wonderful. He also is a yogi. I think he practices yoga every morning. That much I know, that much. And I sometimes feel that if he had not got into politics, he might have ended up sitting somewhere in the Himalayas, quietly. But politics, there are other compulsions, so that's okay. Anyway, that's not our subject. Our subject is yoga. Now, when you say yoga asanas, asana, not in Malayalam, in Sanskrit, asana means a posture. Even that place where you sit is called an asana. Therefore, in Malayalam, the part of the body which sits is also called asana. So, let's not go into that. So, yeah, we had a retreat in Kannur, and there was a lady from Mumbai, basically I think she's a Marwadi, and she had a question after we discussed the asanas, meaning the rolled up little pieces of rug which we used to sit on is also called an asana. And it was Kerala, so everybody is Malayali, lot of people. He said, I have a serious question, sir. I said, what is it? Do we have to wash our asanas every day? All the Malayalis started laughing because their asana means that part of the body which sits on the asana is also called, bums are also called asana. So I said, of course, otherwise it will get dirty. Everybody had a big laugh. Anyway, so during a lockdown it's good to have some light movements, okay? So, asana. Now, what is the first mention of asanas that you find? Even though you find people doing different postures. When they dug up at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, the archaeologists, they found Shiva sitting in Padmasana. They think it is Shiva, but it can't be Buddha because it's much before, sitting in Padmasana. So already asanas are on. Believe me, if you go to Yajnavalkya Yoga, there is one text like that. There are asanas. But I feel that this also must have come a little after Patanjali. So, as far as Indian system of yoga is concerned, Patanjali was the man who actually codified it and systematized it and put it in a proper order. Otherwise, it was there, scattered here and there. Some were doing something, some were doing. He put it together. Now, yoga philosophy borrows a lot from Sankhya. It's actually originating from Sankhya. And in fact, the concept of Ishvara in the yoga philosophy is hardly mentioned here and there. In Sankhya, it's not there at all. But Sankhya is a very important part of Indian philosophy. Even Krishna talking about Munis or great rishis in his Mahimas, he says, among the rishis I am Kapila. Kapila is the founder of Sankhya. And it's important to note that immediately after Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the next chapter in the Gita is Sankhya Yoga. And it's from this that yoga is derived. There are some alterations, of course, because there are here and there mention of Ishvara Pranidhanena. But then Ishvara's concept in yoga is completely different from the creator concept and so on. We will not discuss that. I'm working on a book for Westland, Amazon, which is Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which I think I should title Yoga also for the godless, not only for the godless. So anyway, so in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, where does asana, the word, appear? It appears in the 8 parts of Ashta Angas. It appears first as Yama, Niyama, immediately asana. So the 8 Angas are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. 8. Eva Samyama. This is the. Now, therefore, it has an important place. But please remember that before asana are yama niyamas. So there are some rules and dietary regulations. You can't say, I'll get drunk in the evening and do asana. So there are some rules and regulations. Simple food, no extremes, and so on. This yoga is not for him who eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or sleeps too little. So there is a moderation. Yogis are not people who want to do tapasya and destroy their bodies. No torture business. They want to be happy. So yoga is for everyone actually. And the younger you start, the better. So it appears in the 3rd part of the Ashtangas, Yama, Niyama, Asana. So generally, follow the Yama, Niyamas before you start the practice. And these are very simple. Try to eat simple food, light food, don't eat too much, don't starve yourself, and so on and so forth. So that is all. I don't want to tell people, if you don't become a vegetarian, you cannot practice asana. Nobody will practice. In Hollywood, many of the people who practice asanas are not vegetarian. So you can start, but I think if you keep practicing yoga beyond asanas and go further, you will feel from your heart at some point that I'm not going to eat non-veg. Then you can leave it. But I can't put it as a precondition. Then many people I know, there are people who are what you called open vegetarians, and there are people who are called secret non-vegetarians. So we can't say this. So let's start. We'll see how the mind works at that point. Okay. Now, having given a general statement on this, asana. Is there a way anywhere that Patanjali defines an asana? Yes. Only one sentence is there in the Yoga Sutras. No postures, nothing is shown. Sthira Sukham Asanam. That means any posture which you can stay comfortably sthira for some time, for a length of time, is considered to be an asana. So probably Patanjali is speaking from the point of view of asanas or postures used for meditation. You get. He has not mentioned others. So if you want to learn about the asanas, there are many textbooks, but the standard earliest textbook you have, I'm proud to say that it also comes from a Nathpanthi, because I'm a Nathpanthi myself. Babaji called me Madhukar Nath. He was Maheshwar Nath. We come from the Nath Sampradaya. I'm very happy to say that it was the Naths who saved yoga. There was a time when the Vedantin, I have nothing against Vedanta, they are wonderful, but Vedantins thought simply if you say Aham Brahmasmi, you will reach the Brahman. And yoga was totally neglected and so on, but it was the Naths who kept the yoga going. Goraksha Shataka, Garanda Samhita, Satchakra Nirupana, not Satchakra Nirupana is not part of the Nath Sampradaya. Many Naths have written commentaries on it. Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati, and what is a standard textbook that one can follow is the Yoga Pradipika. Some people call it Hatha Yoga Pradipika, but I don't agree with this. I think you should call it Yoga Pradipika. That is the original name of the book, and it was written by someone called Swatma Rama, who is from the Natha Sampradaya. Now what he did was, as Patanjali systematized yoga, he systematized the asanas and made a total of, I think, 82 asanas or something. You can check it's available in many languages, the Yoga Pradipika. Sometimes it may be called Hatha Yoga Pradipika, same thing. And again, when you say Hatha Yoga, people have this wrong understanding that Hatha Yoga is physical, Raja Yoga is the higher one. Let me tell you that actually Hatha does not mean only physical yoga. Well, I know Raja Yoga is dealing more with beyond the asanas. Yeah. So that was my subject in last year in Geneva at the WHO headquarters. The subject they asked me to discuss, it was a big panel, was yoga beyond asanas. So yoga is not just the asanas, it is beyond that. I've already said that. So Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Many people think, oh, we are doing Raja Yoga. No, Hatha is actually the meaning of yoga which clears up and balances your Ida and the Pingala. Now that can't be just physical. Ha is the short word used for the sun, plus. And Tha is the short word syllable used for moon, minus. So Ida is the minus and Pingala is the Pingala Nadi is the positive. So Hatha means it includes the manipulation of the Ida and the Pingala so that the Sushumna may be made active. That can't be just physical exercise. So don't put that label. Now, however, those who want to practice yoga, I have been practicing yoga since the age of 11, maybe 10, 11. I had a teacher, Mr. Sharma, used to come from the palace. He was a yoga teacher there in Trivandrum. My father learned from him, then I learned from him. In a way, he and my father are also my gurus in the practice of Hatha Yoga. Then I have spent some time in the Shivananda ashram in Rishikesh, where I learned yoga from the asanas from the Yoga Vedanta Academy, which is in Shivananda's, Swami Shivananda's ashram. I also learned yoga, which I want to have a different view of it, with the Yoga Niketan, who teach good yoga, which is also in Rishikesh. Very good yogic classes they have. So I did all that, and then Maheshwarnath Babaji was very keen when I did yoga to correct me in my asanas. He didn't teach me many asanas. If you do something, he correct you. He said, पैर को यहाँ रखिए, ऐसा नहीं रखना है. So I learned the whole thing. I'm still practicing. For the last few days I can't practice because I did something very funny. I must warn you. I did Sarvangasana and fell down. Now when you do Sarvangasana, be very careful. Give complete. You know why? Because suddenly my attention shifted to something. I looked and my hand slipped. And when I do Sarvangasana, I do a lot of circus. I put my legs here, there. You know, sometimes I tend to forget my age. So it went like this and I fell down, and so I have a problem with my leg. It will get over soon, there is no problem. But because of that I can't demonstrate the asana anything now, but I think by 30th I should be okay that way. It's just a catch and the muscle tendons which we are working on. Bones are all there, X-ray has been taken, don't worry, I'm here. So what is the effect of doing yoga asanas for all these years? Yogasana is part of Kaya Kalpa. How to maintain the cells without getting old. See, look, if you see my asana pictures, which we are going to show, which was done in 2002, I look older than I am now. How come? Because then I concentrate a little on reviving my body, because I need to do more work. Babaji has given me a lot of work to do. Maheshwarnath Baba. So I revived it. So you might see me looking now younger than when the asanas were done, but they're done perfectly. So I wanted, you will see the slides after I finish my talk. So If you want to stand a standardized version of the asanas, I would refer you to the Yoga Pradipika of Swatma Rama, which is available in English translation from the Lonavala Yoga Institute. I forgot, Garota, I think Mr. Garota has translated this. It's a wonderful book. I don't think he's there anymore, but the institute is still there, and it's a wonderful book. You can cross-check with this posture and that. But here I have only few postures because I know people cannot do 80 asanas, 82 asanas. So I have reduced the number, selected some which are enough to keep the body and mind together and improve your health and so on. And yeah, people may say, Rohi, your hair has gone grey. That went grey long ago, and I don't dye my hair. I think it's better to dye than to dye. You know what I mean? So there may be many who dye their hair and it looks black, but I don't. So, don't worry, I'm not going to dye so easy. This practice of yoga. What I want to do is, what I wanted to do from that point is to make a small kind of course, which is you can do in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, not very long. If you want, you can stretch it to 30 minutes. 20 minutes is more than enough for the practice of these asanas, which have culled from different sources, basically the Yoga Pradipika, and put it down into a certain order. So when you see it, you'll see it begins with some form of what is called Surya Namaskara. If you're doing the entire Surya Namaskara, please do it. And I don't believe that you should do the asanas and then also kind of manipulate your breath. Just do the asanas with complete attention and forget about the breath, unless there is one asana where you have to breathe in and hold your breath, kumbhak and so on. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Just do your asanas. What happens when you do your asanas? Probably the breath adjusts itself to the asanas. You don't have to do anything. Of course, you need to keep your lungs nicely reheated with air, so do some deep breathing, Vastrika or something like that to keep going. But in the actual asanas, there is no such thing. That is pranayama. Next step. We may have a talk on pranayama only afterwards, but this is only for asanas. What I'm trying to say, when you do asanas, don't worry too much about how your breath is inside, outside. It doesn't matter. And you don't have to chant something before you start or anything. Of course, we should show respect to our teachers who have given us, starting from Narayana to Patanjali to your immediate teacher, by saying, I bow down to you. We adjust everything together in a simple mantra, Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Start. Enough. Then you do your yoga. Please keep a yoga mat which you use yourself and don't give to anybody, especially now with COVID. If you are a patient without outside asymptomatic, then you will give it to somebody else. So keep your, I think they already thought it might happen. Like, keep an asana separate for you, don't give it to anybody. Roll it up and put it away. It should be not very soft. You can't do asanas on cushions. It should be okay, but not so hard that you hurt yourself. Keep an asana. And you can turn in any direction and do yoga. There is no harm. But if you're doing Surya Namaskara, it is better to turn towards Surya, the sun, and do it. Otherwise, you can do it anytime, anywhere, no problem. So it will take 20 minutes. If you start practicing every morning, you will see the effect in some time. May not see it directly, immediately, but you will begin to see the effect in, say, a year, 7 months, 1 year. You'll see suddenly that your stamina is increased. Something is happening. Moderate food is of course required, and avoid alcohol, avoid smoking. All these things that actually have no... If you have an operation, surgery or something, what's the first thing the doctor says? Keep off alcohol for some time, because it delays the healing process. Don't think because it is single malt, no, nothing will... The arak which the man drinks from the shop, plus everything has the same effect of alcohol in the body, right? So, avoid, at least when you start practicing. Those who are already having, please start doing it. Don't do it when you're had 2 pegs, because you're going to fall down. I didn't fall because of that, okay? Now, I've done that, I've said everything. Is there anything left to discuss about asanas? Let me think. I think that's enough. Roughly we have discussed asanas. Now about pranayam and about mudras and about all these, we will have a special session. This is only for asanas. So in this scheme of things, I have started with Surya Namaskara, where it's also an asana where you stand and do Namaskar. Now the names of the asanas will be given to you after the asanas are shown. Don't mistake me, the man who is doing the asanas is me, not my uncle, okay? And so, see it carefully. You can, when it comes on YouTube, you can kind of adjust the speed, you can record it and do it yourself, so there's no problem. And then in the end, always finish with a little bit of meditation and Shavasana. Shavasana is very important in yoga because whole of yoga posture works on the principle that you have to tense your muscles and then relax them. If you tense your muscles and relax them, energy automatically flows into that area. So you see in asanas, you tense this way or you tense this way or you tense this way. You have the Ardha Matsyendrasana, which actually keeps your spine active. It's for a movement of the spine, for the waist. There's the Ardha Matsyendrasana is even better than golf, the swing. So, and one more thing before we start, yoga is not only a physical exercise, it affects your endocrine system. Look, hardly we have blood flowing in our brain because all the time our heads are up. And people who are very proud hardly have any blood flowing here, we never bend. So once in a while, even if you don't want to bend to somebody, close the doors and bend down to the earth. Good idea. And in asanas, there are many postures in which your head is bent, including that which is topsy-turvy, which is the Shirsasana. I have not given the Shirsasana in this. You can do Sarvangasana. Good enough. The blood flows in the brain becomes more active. More active doesn't mean more disturbed. More active and calm. Watch out. This is what it is. So it affects the endocrine glands. It knows when you do asanas, certain parts are massaged so that the hormones go into the blood system. If you do Matsyasana, for instance, I have shown Matsyasana in this. When you do Matsyasana, your adrenal glands are massaged beautifully. If you continue for a long time, you will see that you can control your anger better than before. Because anger is basically adrenaline rushing into the system. So this will help you. And so on. If you suffer from high blood pressure, please do not do any headstands. Also when you do Mahamudra, don't hold your breath for long. So any asanas where you need to hold your breath for long, don't do. Hold short while if you like, Kumbhak. If you have any physical diseases, something like pain in the knee and all, watch out carefully consult a teacher before you do it. And for meditation, after you do asanas and sit down for meditation, you will find the difference. Now, those who are practicing Kriya Yoga, actually it is not necessary for you to practice all the asanas, because when you do the Mahamudra, much of the effect of the asanas, that is the asana part of the Kriya Yoga, is looked after. However, I do asanas. I would suggest that you do asanas. It is good for you, good for the body, good for the mind. Got it? So, all I am trying to say is, immediately I will get less. Should we do all the asanas before we do Kriya Yoga? No. You can do Kriya Yoga without doing the asanas if you are already doing Mahamudra. But if you have time, and those who are not doing Kriya, and those who have time, please do the asanas. You will find the difference even while you practice Kriya, and even if you don't want to practice Kriya, it will make a great deal of difference. So in this lockdown time, I think you should start 20 minutes to it. It's going to help you throughout. Even people who don't believe in religion have done that. Jawaharlal Nehru himself used to do Shirsasana regularly. He did not, he was almost an agnostic. So it's a useful thing to do. Not because Nehru did it. I would say the Prime Minister is also doing his asanas. So probably that's what keeps him going. He looks fit most of the time in the worst of circumstances. So you can also be like that. Now the good news is that we are going to start a Bharat Yoga Vidya Kendra where courses will be offered in the practice of yoga, short courses, long courses. People can join these courses. So those who want to join the Yoga Vidya Kendra for their courses, we'll let you know in 2 weeks or 3 weeks as soon as we get the schedule, and then you can join. So we'll have courses in Madanapalli where you can come and learn. I'm hoping that if somebody is trained and sent somewhere else, they can teach there also. There's no problem. It will be a certified course from the ministry, Ayush, so that you can go anywhere and find a job or do something, yoga teacher. It will be completely official. So the name of our yoga center is Bharat Yoga Vidya Kendra, registered. Okay? So now you will see slides of asanas being done. So please, friends, watch this carefully and refer to the Yoga Pradipika if you have any doubt, or go to Shivananda Ashram or Lonavala Yoga Institute somewhere and study it in detail. So let's see, hopefully, all the best. Start your asanas tomorrow itself in the morning. Okay? Thank you. Namaskar. In these asanas, I have not mentioned about holding the breath or anything of the kind. You just do it naturally, slowly, and you will see that the breath adjusts itself to the asanas. This is Sarvangasana, what you see. See, that posture you see now is the Matsyasana, which I said about the adrenal glands being massaged. After this, you carry on with your yogasanas. Thank you and namaskar. Wish you all the best. Be happy. Stay home for the time being and have a beautiful time. Both man and woman.